What's up, Region 4? This is Jeremy Chance with your Region 4 Communications Committee, bringing to you a new, different twist on our conversation series. I'll turn it over to my colleague, Belinda, to talk a little bit about this new series we're doing.
Everyone, my name is Belinda and I'm the Vice Chair for our Communications Committee. This time we wanted to do a series celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month and those who are part of our community, and pay tribute to those who have contributed to our society and our nation and have just positively influenced and enriched each and every one of us here present today. We have two wonderful NIRSA members. We have Chris and we have Serena here. So Chris, Serena, we'll turn it over to you guys if you will introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about how it is that you got started here in Campus Rec.
Sure. I'll start off. So hello, everyone. My name is Chris Porras. Currently right now, I am the Operations Graduate Assistant for the University of Houston main campus, and I'm a second year. And so a little bit of how I kind of got started in Campus Rec. I feel it's kind of like a common story. And so in undergrad, I went to Illinois State University as an athlete. And then once my career kind of ended there, I wanted to stay in some kind of athletics, stay in that fitness environment. And luckily, the Campus Recreation Center at ISU was hiring. So I was like, oh, I heard great things about it. It was a relatively new facility. So I was like, I would just love to work there. And from the minute I started to obviously now, I kind of fell into the culture. The students there, my fellow coworkers in this process just made it feel very different from a job. It wasn't something I dreaded going towards. It's something that I wanted to be a part of. And then after graduation, I took about 2 years off, worked in the field for a little bit in public rec and nonprofit. But I knew I wanted to make my way back Campus Rec. And now, luckily I'm here for one more year and then on to the next journey from there.
That's wonderful to hear. Serena, what about you?
Hi, everybody. My name is Serena Rodriguez, and I'm the first year graduate assistant at Texas A&M University for sport clubs. My undergrad, I am a transfer student from a junior college in San Diego, California. So I went to Southwestern Community College, where I was on the track and field team, and I did throws mostly for javelin. And so I transferred to University of Colorado Springs for their sport management program. That is something that I was passionate about. I like business and sports, and I just put the two together, and I just wanted to pursue sport management. While I was in Colorado, I saw a job posting for an intramural official. So I started with the intramurals, be a great on-campus job. I like sports. I did a little bit of refereeing in high school. So I started in intramurals where I really picked it up, and I just started applying for higher positions and started getting promoted. And then I got into sport clubs with an internship that was required for my undergraduate program. And with my internship, I had the opportunity to attend the NIRSA annual conference in Denver, and that just really opened my eyes for campus recreation. And I just kept wanting to learn more and more about campus rec, and specifically with sport clubs. And when it came to apply for graduate assistant positions, I was on top of it, always on Bluefish, looking at everything and applying to everybody. Mm-hmm. It was a great experience, and I'm happy to be where I'm at right now.
Awesome. We're super excited to have y'all both in Region 4. But let's dive into why we're really having this conversation here today, and that's the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. So super broad question, so go with it where you want to go. But talk to us a little bit about how you personally celebrate your Hispanic Heritage or Hispanic Heritage Month. What is that? How do you represent that, or what does it mean to you? We'll start with Chris.
Definitely. So with me, to be super honest, I didn't know there was a Hispanic Heritage Month until, I would say, honestly, late high school. I found out it started off around the late 60s or 70s, around that time period. And I was like, okay, but it was never broadcasted to me, right? But going to college and, being at an institution that was a PWI, so predominantly white institution, I started finding more of, how do I represent myself? who am I in this space? And so from there, started seeing, you know, what does it mean to really be Hispanic, and what do I identify as in that community? So understanding that I identify as Chicano, that I, you know, represent a community of people, but I'm not the only representation, is something that I try to enact each and every single day by the work I'm trying to do, as well as being a first generation graduate and professional now, you know, going through navigating this space. I'm really in entree wars and trying to figure out, you know, how can my experiences help the generation behind me? And so that's what I kind of feel, what I really try to more exemplify during Hispanic Heritage Month, just because, you know, this month is almost like a celebration, right, of everything that's been done for our community. And I know with the lack of representation in most large, predominantly white institutions, there's not a lot of people that know the stories of people like me. And so I try to share my story, try to share my insight, and just really be that mentor just for the younger generation behind me.
Yeah, well, we're glad we can help share that story. Serena, what about you?
Yeah, so a little bit similar with Chris. It wasn't until like about sophomore year of high school. I went to a high school that was close to the border of Mexico in a small agricultural town. We were about 10 miles away from the border. So luckily in my position, our I believe our Hispanic club, the two teachers that ran it, they did a very good job of really utilizing Hispanic Heritage Month and putting on multiple assemblies for students to attend, and really making it easy to understand for students who weren't really well aware of Hispanic Heritage Month. And so that really like opened my eyes, and it started, you know, I started to, you know, do a Google search and just started to develop more and learn more, and as well as ask questions within my family. So what I like to do to celebrate, I just like to reflect about what my ancestors went through, what my close family members have gone through, and how they have succeeded, and what their culture represents in their professional development, like in the professional world. And my main goal right now is to just be that representation and show, you know, undergrads that are up and coming or other professionals that that Latinas can be in higher positions in higher education and campus recreation. And that's just my goal, is to show them that. And I identify as Latina.
Yeah, these stories are so important to get out there, and I love that you guys are out here sharing it with each and every one of us. Well, one thing that Serena, you did touch on was being that example for other students and showing them that Latinas and Latinos can be in those higher positions. So as a student, we get a little bit of a different perspective because we get both ends of the conversation. Like, what does it mean as a student to see someone in a higher position, and what is it like to be someone in a higher position, and how do you want to reflect your heritage that way? So my question for you guys would be, how important and how much does it mean for you to be able to see other professionals who reflect your culture in those like higher campus rec positions? Serena, do you want to continue that conversation there?
Yeah, thank you. I think it is very important, just because there might be some situations that you run into during your job that you might feel just more comfortable if there's somebody in a higher position of like a Latina or Latino. And there's just a certain understanding that people that have a different type of culture, like Hispanic culture, that they might be able to connect with. And it's just, when you're in a position as a student and a graduate assistant, you have that balance, like you mentioned earlier, and just having somebody that you can go to is really beneficial. And it also proves that maybe they have another network of connections that can be very beneficial once you finish your graduate assistantship and you're off to join the career field. And I also, like, for myself, I want to be that mentor to somebody who is like becomes in my position, and just show them and really highlight the values that I carry along with being Latina.
Yeah, exactly what kind of going on with what Serena was saying. I think it's super important to have people that not only represent your community, but look like you in those higher positions. Because I just know through my experience, you know, going back to this concept of being a first generation student to professional, like what does that transition look like? And I know for me, a lot of it was when I submitted my first resume and then I went to a resume workshop, they were like, it was completely different. I had no idea. I just went on Google and was like, resume template, right? I was like, right, perfect. But I know I felt embarrassed asking these professionals because I was like, oh, I was already supposed to know this. But with both my parents being immigrants and working in jobs that didn't really require a resume, it just was never taught. And so me being that representation, being that avenue where students that look like you and, you know, come from state backgrounds can come to you and ask these questions in confidence, I think it's super important because the purpose of higher education is just to get these students to where they want to go, right? Make sure that we can help them transform, develop holistically. And so, I don't know, for me, it was just, it was a little tough in the beginning, but now that I'm in the other side of it, I almost bombard my students. I'm like, do you guys need any help? Do you want any marketing use? Like, how are your applications going? You know, you need letter of rec? Like, because I know for me, it was just hard to ask for help. It was always kind of like a culture thing too of, I don't want to seem weak, or I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm doing. And so knowing that from that perspective, I try to almost overreach and be like, oh, almost be annoying, honestly, and be like, do you need my help? Because a lot of students do, but they just don't want to ask you. And so again, having that person that you feel confident in, I think is huge, especially for students that are first generation or students that are non-traditional, to help navigate this space, because it's just different for everybody.
Yeah, you both have kind of touched on this last question. We'll wrap up on this. And I'm certain you mentioned this specifically, the mentorship being so important and having that representation. You know, open-ended question for whoever wants to jump in first. Is there a mentor or somebody that you've idolized, maybe not idolized, but see as a role model that's kind of helped either guide you into the field or provide that guidance, that leadership or mentorship for you? Again, not necessarily of Hispanic heritage, but just wanted to provide that opportunity. If you have somebody that's kind of sticking out for you, who would that person be?
Yeah. Serena, you can go ahead.
I'll go ahead. One person would be my previous manager at University of Colorado Springs. Her name is Mallory Barger. She is now a retired for competitive sports. But during my time there, she just really pushed. I told her that I wanted to become the best candidate for a graduate position, and she just provided all the opportunities on the table, and I took every opportunity possible. And it also gave me the opportunity to dabble a little bit in each different part of campus recreation. So at my university, we had youth programming, so I did a little bit of youth programming. I did intramural programming and sport club programming, even helped a little bit with facilities. So she just gave me the best ability to become where I'm at today. And also just the professional staff that I had at University of Colorado Springs, just because they were helping me with mock interviews, helping me like develop the best answers for, you know, your typical interview questions, and just giving me some insight and, you know, ideas of how, you know, to become a better student and to become a better professional as well. Awesome.
Chris, what about you?
Yeah, definitely. So kind of like Serena was saying, like definitely the professional staff at ISU really helped me. Just about being welcoming, just having that kind of open door for me to come, you know, ask any questions. But one person in particular really kind of helped me in this campus rec field was who's someone who I look up to as a mentor, but also I consider a best friend, is Jay McKendall. He and I were actually interns at the University of Denver for a summer with their youth programming, and just seeing him be as already a graduate assistant, kind of see him navigate this space as also a representation of a minority community. I was just able to kind of touch his brain a little bit, be like, oh, like, how do I do this? How did you navigate this? Because again, like, I didn't know really what I was doing, or like I was just kind of, you know, shooting my shot kind of everywhere, so to speak. And so kind of, you know, asking him, and again, someone that I can relate to in some way and someone I had confidence in, and someone that I respect a lot, he was just able to tell me his, you know, experiences and kind of what his miscues were, and that helped me. And even today, just a couple of months ago, I was asking him, you know, some things of what I should be developing my second year, and he was like, these are the things I did, here's how you should translate it for you. And so I know for me that was major, and without him, I hope I will still be in the position I am, but I know he had a huge factor in my development as well.
Awesome. Belinda, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to hear that, everyone has had somebody very influential in their life that has helped them guide us through our career and what it is that we want to do. And I do want to thank both of you, Serena, Chris, for spending some time with us today, talking about your heritage, talking about your journey here through campus recreation. And a big shout out to Region 4 for watching and listening to our story. So thank you once again, and we will see y'all soon.
See y'all. Thanks.